Hi folks, I'm back now. Got a new thread on my needle. All right, so I've got this set of 4 and this set of 4. Now I'm going to put them together. So I'm going to start on this side, the right-hand side, but then I'm right-handed. So I find that point, put my needle there. Oh, look, I got lucky. It's on the other side. Then I'm going to go down to the end, and this is just so that I can control my fabric so I can get that point right. I put it where those two lines come together, check it on the other side, and they line up. So I'm good to go. So just like I did on the other ones, I'm pressing this together so that everything nests. And so when I pull these two apart, I can see that, all right, I'm getting pretty close. So, and I can feel it through all of those seam allowances. So now what I'm going to do, get the camera a little closer, I'm going to start flipping. Notice how the seam allowances on this side go one direction, and these all go this direction. Well, I'm going to take my stitches from this side to this side, and so I don't want any of that bulk in the way. So I've got them nested together, holding it with my fingers, and I just start gently turning these over one by one, kind of finger pressing them out of the way. And now I can feel all of that bulk, and when I do check it over here, there's none of it right here where this point is at. So I'll grab I need a straight pin. So right here is where my line ends. And I stab my straight pin through there, and you can see I'm a little bit off because I want my straight pin to be back there. So the way I do this is I scooch it down a wee bit with my finger and my forefinger, and I try it again. Got it going there. I kind of move it with my other fingers behind. All right, so I've got my straight pin coming on that side. You can see it right here. And now when I come around this side, my straight pin is right at the end of that diamond. So now I just rock my straight pin through there. And I go back here and do a sanity check just to make sure it's there. And so you can see it's still real close to where that point is at. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. As I'm sewing, I'm gonna keep my fingers here. All right, I haven't moved this one. Take that pin out. And I'm only gonna sew from this end of the diamond to that center point. That's as far as I'm gonna go. So here's my first back stitch, here's my second back stitch. I check on the other side and I'm nice and right on top of that line. I'm good to go. I don't get too concerned about the seam, how many stitches per inch on this thing. As long as the fabric is together, I'm good. Got looped around the points there. All right, now I start slowing down when I get close to that point. And I'm going to stitch right up to that straight pin. So you can see my needle coming out right here. All right, so I'm pretty close to that end point where I want it to be. Now, I take a bite out of the fabric so that I can see the straight pin on the other side. Can't see that one yet, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, now when I take that out, that straight pin out, see how you can see that needle on that opposite side? So I've got it just where I want it. Turn it back around, and I'm going to bring that last stitch, make sure all that slack is out of there. And now I'm going to do my first back stitch and my second back stitch. Now this is where you want it to be really tight. So I'm pulling on my fabric pretty tightly. So you can see how I've got my stitches right here stacked, and and that's my 2 back stitches. When I'm doing the LeMoyne star, I want them tight, so I'll do a 1/3. All right, now that's all nice and tight right there. It's not going to come apart. So now I need to get my seam allowances back to the other side. However, I've got my thread over here, right? I need it on this other side. So all I do is bring this up here. And remember, I've tied off the thread on this side. So I'm just going to get real close to that point and shove it through the seam allowances and come up as close as I can to the point on this side. And it's only going through those seam allowances on this top diamond here. All right, and now I've got these seam allowances to the right direction, but these are the wrong direction. So I'm going to slowly bring those around, and I've still got my thumb and forefinger right here at this point. And I pull it a bit just to make sure I don't have I haven't doubled up on the fabric back there. And I kind of finger press it to get the seam allowances out of the way. Now you can see that I brought my thread right there at that point of that diamond. See if I can get that a little closer. Camera is not focusing very well. Get back down here. Okay, so right there where my thread comes up is where the diamonds come together. So you can see here I'm taking a good sized bite out of the fabric. Now I turn it to the other side and check, is it on the end of that point? And yes, it is. So I've got it pretty tight right there. So there's my first back stitch. And I turn it over just to make sure I'm still there. All right, there's my first back stitch. And now I'm going to do a second back stitch. So you can see my red thread on the top and my red thread on the back. That's where that back stitch is. For grins and giggles, I want it to be tight, so I'm going to do a 3rd back stitch. And now I just start my running stitch on the line. It's that dotted line that's on the stamp. All right, and that's enough on my thread. So I'm going to pull my needle. So I'm going to pull it through, get rid of the gathers. I'm going to check it on the other side. And so you can see that, all right, it's pretty much on that line on that side, and it's also on this side. So I'm just going to keep on going. As soon as I get close to that straight pin, I pull on through, get rid of the gathers. I'm at the other end of that diamond. There's my first back stitch, my second back stitch. Get rid of the pin. And I'm going to do another one just in case, because I'm going to pull on this one pretty tough. Now I can cut my thread. All right, so I've got my seam allowances going the opposite directions. Now I'm going to pull it apart. So here's where the magic happens. So that's looking pretty good right there. I'm pretty satisfied with it. So when you turn it over to this side, and this is where you make that rosette. You've heard people talk about that. So you can see all of these seam allowances are already starting to go in that one direction. So when I kind of swirl it around lightly with my finger, and then I just dive in there with my thumb and really thumb press it pretty hard. Then I can come back with my wooden iron and kind of beat that down a bit. But now you can see if I went and pressed it with the iron, it's going to stay down and it'll give you a really good press. I don't do it until I go to the very end. So there is my LeMoyne star. Notice how all the points match up, and I'm good to go. I put this aside and start going on to the next one. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it. And if you have any questions, please post something on Facebook or send me an email. I'd love to chat with you and kind of work you through it. It took me about 3 to kind of get the hang of this. And now I kind of do it watching TV. It's all good now. So have a great day, and look forward to seeing you. Bye now.